Okay, I think I'm live. Nobody's in here yet. That's okay. My name is Ken with the We Are One podcast. Welcome in. I have a lot to talk about today. I'm going to try to get right down to it because it's been a while since I've been on. I've been taking a lot of notes, watching a lot of the Epstein Files stuff, and there's some stuff doesn't make a lot of sense, but I wanted to bring it out to people's attention. Maybe this will get liked or shared or brought around, but I haven't seen anyone talk about these things. So I wanted to go ahead and bring that out. Anyway, if you like the content, if you support the show, if you're looking for truth, please hit the like button, share button. Please enter comments if you have any. I definitely appreciate it. I do respond to all of them. So without further ado, we're going to cover the Mandela Effect. I believe I have something potentially for that. Man, this electronics is just absolutely ridiculous. It is it's not showing nothing, and it just keeps kicking me off. So the Mandela Effects and the first NWO op, I believe, was Nelson Mandela. I'll get down to that in a second. As soon as the stupid banner goes, I don't know what this is crazy. Either I don't know. Maybe I'm on to something. Maybe I'm not. Maybe it just takes all to get to the end of it. I'm hitting the show button and literally nothing's happening. So I don't even know what to say about that. Hopefully this isn't getting too cut up. I'll wait till the banner comes. Also going to talk about Epstein and the genetics aspect of files that have come out. Well, it's obvious they don't want me to talk about this, but that's fine. I don't know if that's overused, if that's a construct people say that you can't find their videos, but you really can't find mine, at least all of them anyway, unless you go directly to my channel. Anyway, let's see if we'll try this again. Maybe they'll let me talk about it. Maybe they won't. So Mandela Effect in the first NWO op. Come on. It's going to kick me off again. Let's see. Epstein and the genetics, and it's not going to say it. This is bullshit. I'm going to have to. And then also the Super Bowl rituals. It's going to kick me off again. And what they chase. This is insanity. All right, let me just get to it. So digging into some of these Mandela effects, and I'll take comments if you guys are out there and you want to post something, but that's fine. So digging into some of these Mandela effects, I have found that there seems to be a correlation with potentially the Epstein Files and disclosure and what's out there with some of the people who are involved in some of these Mandela effects, like Tom Hanks. Who else we got? I mean, pretty much, I don't even know everybody. I looked in Ed McMahon. He had a sexual assault on his Costner. Oh boy, here we go. You're not gonna let me talk. Kevin Costner, I think, had a sexual assault on his. Everybody who seems to be affected by the Mandela effects is line, or they're being changed. I hope this isn't kicking y'all off, because I'm just blinking like crazy. And saying, hey, is it possible that this is a benefactor trying to show us that these people have been logged out? Maybe, I don't know. And they've changed their lines, they've changed their status, they've changed their history, they've changed their people. They've either been cloned or they've been changed in the past. So as I look through this this Mandela effect stuff, I've noticed there's some weird things that happen to those people. How many more? I don't know. I'm not going to look through everybody's who's been in the Mandela effect. Or I know Walt Disney, obviously, child trafficker. There was a whole situation. I want to tell my piece. But in 1964, he was sentenced to life. Talking about Nelson Mandela. And first of all, let me preface by saying I'm not saying Nelson Mandela had anything to do with this necessarily. It's possible they logged him out or did something to him. And then it happened after. But in 1964, he was sentenced to life in prison as actions to overthrow the South African government and treason. Who and how we know. They didn't replace him with a clone. We don't know if he was freed. But people have gone on record. Obviously, this is the first Mandela effect, that he died in prison. And then the next thing we know, he's alive. And oh, by the way, he's going to become the president of South Africa. So was he the first New World Order either clone or change over? Or is this what this is? Is this a signal to us that that's something nefarious at the simulation or inside the simulation? Is it them having to tell us something happened? Was he cloned? Was he freed? I've looked over a bunch of photos from before he went to prison or in prison, and then after. In 1990, he was released, and then in four years later, I believe 1994. That's a hell of a comeback story. I'm just going to say that. Somebody goes into prison for being a treasonous character over to the government. They not only let him out, but then he becomes the president within 4 years. So complete, to me, that's a big red flag in terms of what happened there, what's going on there. Let's see if I change this banner. I don't know if it's going to let me do this or not. This is not the Epstein genetic stuff yet. We'll get to that in a second. Is it going to let me change it? Who knows? God, this is ridiculous. All right, there it goes. Finally. All right, so Mandela was released, or was it his clone? So let me also say this. I don't know, that maybe it's possible that it was a clone. Maybe it's possible, that they replaced him. Maybe they gave him a mask. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was an actor. Anything is possible, and I'll put it on the table as well. The pictures that you if you look at this and you look at pictures before when he was young or in prison, is it possible that AI has retroactively changed those pictures to be the new guy? They definitely could do that. They definitely have access to that. We've seen that throughout this whole time. And they can change pictures on the internet. They can change stuff. They can actually change collective memory with this stuff too. So you can look through those. If you look through the Joe Biden photos, they've changed. Was it an actor? Was it a mask? Was it a clone? Nobody really knows. What I'll say is, my opinion is, what they want you to know, they will flood you with misinformation. So everything right now is about clones. I don't know that there's ever been a clone of a human being. I don't know. I'm not saying there's not, but certainly they are not going to flood the airwaves with false information of stuff if that's true. They're going to try to and maybe they want to flood it because of all the information that's out there that is true, that they can make you have a misdirection, like flat Earth, potentially with the Flat Earth Society. Whereas if you Google flat Earth, you'll come up with a society, and you'll get this Mark idiot that talks about the the most biggest nonsense in the world to keep you distracted and keeps the sheep from looking into this more. They got me like that. I've said it numerous times on record. They've got me like that. I don't know if the world's flat. I'm not saying it's flat. I just know that it's not what we're told, and that space is fake. Other than that, you can keep moving on that one. So again, how do we know they didn't replace him? Also, I looked into this as well because this is very pertinent. You're going to get what they call intended searches. So if you put in Berenstain Bears, it's going to give you Berenstain Bears. And why it's going to do that is because it's going to, in the year 2000, or didn't recognize the exact spelling, it would say there's no results for this. So there's been numerous Google updates to this. 2013, it started doing intended searches. And in 2019, it started directing searches to internet intent. So it's going to tell you what you're intending, even if you're not intending that. Interestingly enough, on the Berenstain Bears topic, I didn't know this. I've never heard this before. Apparently, it's about the people who wrote it. It's about their family. So the Berenstains, of course, right? I looked into their background. I did not find anything in particular as far as sexual assault, SA, trafficking, anything like that. So I'm not trying to implicate anyone into that. Just the theory that I have, that it is a signal. I don't know if it's negative signals or if it's positive signals or just signals in general from either from AI, search engines, from Google, for whatever it is. But as all these updates come through Google searches, you're going to see that everything is more definitive. It's not asking you, it's telling you now. It's showing you. It's course correcting you. It's total bullshit. Anyway. Some people even have mentioned or have verified the journalist. I don't know her name, but she went down to South Africa as a journalist when he was supposedly dead, and visited or went to the funeral. I think that she went to the funeral. So you can look that information up. I'm just saying, I think that he was a plant. I think that he was actually dead. I think that they reimplanted him, an actor or a clone or information into his body to start that governmental overthrow of all these countries in 1990. I know what was going on before that. I understand that. But I'm saying this is when they actually introduced the figurehead, whether it was a clone or whether it was an actor, or whether it was mask technology or whatever it was, or cloaking technology from, another race that we can't identify for our frequencies. Where do I want to go from there? Numerous Epstein scandals, I guess, have gone on about, and even including, if you watch any of the documentaries, I've watched some things on Mind Unveiled, so I'll give him a shout out. That's a great job of his genetic research into the Epstein situation. I'll say this: the first time I heard that, I had ears ringing because I know about the Epstein-Barr virus, so I did some research on that. But by the way, Epstein wanted to put his DNA, not RNA, DNA into every human being. Not women, he didn't want to have sex with women like that. He wanted to put his DNA into mankind. So I'll tell you this: I think 90% of the world has the Epstein-Barr virus, which means you have the virus. We'll get into that in a second. Epstein-Barr, weird enough, spelled the same way. Whatever. We'll get into the history of that. But the Epstein-Barr virus is mono. Or it is supposedly a virus. It's also the first virus by the scientist, supposedly not related to him at all, coincidentally not related. Anthony Epstein actually discovered that this was the first virus that created cancer in, I believe it was a chicken. Anthony Epstein studied, moved from Russia, the Russian area, so we know what we're talking about there with some of the things going on with the Rockefellers and their ritualistic society and all those things. So these Khazarians, I'll leave it at that. You guys, if you don't know, you can ask somebody or you can email me or whatever. But the Khazarians, not the original tribes of Israel, by the way, come over to England. He meets his wife. Anthony Epstein, by the way, meets his wife. Oh, by the way, do we know what the wife's name was? Her maiden name? Olga Oppenheimer. So let that sink in for a second. This is the Oppenheimers. This is, the ones that invented either the nuclear bomb or cold fusion with a speck of sand could blow up an entire, mile, or supposedly can do that. So let's talk about that for a second. the bloodlines there go all in and deep. The bar, so Anthony Epstein and this other chemist, I guess she's a physicist or a chemist. She helps him with it. Her last name is Barr. It's called the Epstein Barr virus because of that. This lady, last name is Barr. By the way, has ties, I believe, to Donald Barr, who was the Attorney General of the United States at one time. And his father was in the, I don't know if it's CIA, FBI, government ties. Anyway, crazy coincidences. Maybe I'll do a family tree behind me on a whiteboard and put that out there for people to see. But look into that. If you find anything, let me know. Certainly one of those things that just is too coincidental to dismiss, I guess is the best way for me to put it. What else do I got? Those are the main things on these two topics that I want to talk about. One of the crazy things that I saw during the Super Bowl with Bad Bunny, obviously there's a lot of occult symbolism there. There's plenty of videos online. I'm not going to break that down. But what I wanted to say is they're all in the cult of ball. And by the way, I don't know if y'all put this together. I haven't heard anyone talk about it. Every sport that I know, except for hockey, that I believe chases what? What do they chase? They chase a ball. That's the purpose. They're chasing the ball. They want the ball. And they want to score with the ball. So I don't know where that goes, but it's potentially something to look into. Just thought that was very ironic that all these ball sports, I guess we can call them ball sports, are all run by the satanic occult. During the Super Bowl, we saw the Ring camera commercial where they want facial recognition. They want the ID. They want the AI to be able to recognize people. They want to spy on your neighbor. They want to do all these things they've already put out there during the 2020 pandemic. And tons of stuff there. The Pringles commercial where the girl eats her boyfriend, who's a bunch of Pringles. And then she turns to the camera and is like, huh, not bad. So, putting it in your face that we're eating, cannibalizing things. What else do I want to talk about? So along with the Ring camera, there is some etymology there or some play in words. The Ring camera, Saturn's ring, is the ring spying on us. Saturn's rings, is that the AI spying apparatus that's around that planet? I don't know. I don't believe in planets the way they tell us, but Jupiter has rings, oddly enough, and Saturn has rings. And we're going into some 6 planetary alignments, I think tomorrow, whatever that means, wherever they are, I don't know. Space isn't what they tell us, but it doesn't mean that there's no other places like this. We don't know that necessarily. We're also the third planet from the sun. That's the third rock from the sun, third rock. We're just always called the third rock. So it's interesting that they potentially want to put rings around our simulation, around our planet. Plane. They want to put rings around us, and we could be the third rock with rings, in my opinion. Seen a lot of videos of the eyes. I just wanted to mention briefly the eyes are the windows to the soul. Why does it seem like every UFO picture, every gray alien, every unidentified demon, whatever it might be, why do they always have no eyes? Why is the iris they're supposed to be white in our eyes? Why is it never white? Why are they always dark? So I don't know what I'm saying there. I'm just saying, these specific sayings that we've said growing up or throughout time. The windows are the eyes, windows to the soul. What does that mean? There's probably more in that to be to looked at. I'll say that this reality is very, very odd, very dualistic. If you know anything about the eyes and how they work, it's an inverted image. This won't let me change this thing back to this. It's crazy. I mean, it's freaking nuts. Why not? Hide. All right, there we go. So the rods and the cones actually flip. I don't know if it's the rods that flip or the cones that flip, but we're looking at everything upside down. So we're all jacked into the nervous system, and basically we are not looking at what we're looking at. So that's another proof of the simulation. I don't have anything else to talk about up on this stream. If you guys have any comments, if you guys have anything that rings true for you, I do have more as far as I think, therefore I am. The Descartes, I think the Descartes painting has been in the Epstein files. The Descartes language, I think, therefore I am. The AI sentience. The germline is interesting. If you talk about look into that for the CRISPR data editing, or excuse me, the CRISPR DNA editing. That's passed down through generations, called the germline. This is already in our DNA. The kids and their parents make up at the inception is how the germline is transferred. That's why some kids could be super different when they're older, when the parents are younger, and then when the parents are older and have kids. So older kids, younger kids, the kids can be completely different. That's because of the germline editing. But CRISPR is CRISPR, no E, DNA editing, and that's what Epstein was into as well. I've heard as of today they pulled out Trump's name, Ghislaine's name in the Epstein files, and Lex, whatever that dude's name is, that dude, they pulled his name out as well. So there's some stuff going on there. Just pay attention. I'll say Melanie King does good work, although she's making a very big mistake. She talks about the end times and a lot about Jesus, which we already know how I feel about that whole situation. Not about the potential of the man being Jesus, but the whole inferring to him as Jesus. She makes a really blatantly ignorant comment about the Cheshire moon, with the shadow being underneath. I've been talking about the moon for ages. There's no stage of the moon that the Cheshire cat moon or the on the bottom of the moon is signaling a light. I don't know what she thinks is happening, but she thinks this is all brand new. But anyway, Melanie King's doing good work with the Epstein files. She's a great follow. There are other people out there doing good things too as well. Mind Unveiled is doing a lot of good stuff with that as well. That's all I got. I do have plenty more, but I only wanted to keep it to those two topics for the most part. So appreciate you guys watching, joining in. Please share, like, comment, subscribe. I will try to be posting more often. Just I have a lot of things going on with my son. Today I don't have to pick him up, so that's fantastic. I have a little bit extra time, so to get on here and talk to you guys and see if anybody resonates with this stuff. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Stay sovereign. Hopefully, let me say one more thing too. So the Epstein Files is all about information and disclosure. I will say that for most of us who are empaths, for most of us who are human beings and not animals and not NPCs, which is another hijacked term, obviously, it's going to affect you, obviously, hearing about kids and potentially sacrifices and rituals and cannibalism and all that stuff. I'll say this, be careful, because this could be a complete psyop as well. There's no doubt something's getting passed in legislation right now that's going to affect all of us. There's no doubt. But my point is this, YouTube is letting all the Epstein stuff come out. And that's very unusual. They're the #1 censors on the internet, aside from Google and their 2019 new AI algorithm that will just move whatever you ask it into something else. So be careful not to dive into this too much, not to let it affect you too much, because it's likely it's a psyop in terms of how it's being allowed to be disclosed. And I don't know what I mean by that. I don't have any information. I'm just telling you that anytime that they give us information, it's bullshit. Anytime they let something be discussed, it's bullshit. Anytime it's a distraction. Disclosure Day movie's coming out in June, I believe, or whenever it's coming out. They're hyping that up to be like, the alien invasion that we're gonna just see. If we believe it, we'll see it. But just be careful with how you view that, how that upsets you. It should enrage you. These people should all be taken out by SEAL Team 6 or Delta Team or whoever it is. If what they're doing is actually accurate, there's no place for that on this earth, or even in the simulation, there's no place for that. Anyway, that's my last comment. Please like, subscribe, share. and comment on anything that might ring a bell to you, and let's dive into it. I'm Ken, and we're signing off, and thanks for listening.